Welcome back to the pop culture discussion. I am your host Robert, and I'm back again talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. Even though barely anyone watched my previous trailer breakdown on Deadpool 3, because the YouTube algorithm just loves me that much, I said I'd do another video when the next trailer came out, and because I'm a man of my word, here I am. Even if the same thing with the algorithm happens all over again.
Fake laugh, hiding real pain.
Not only do we get our first proper look at Wolverine in this trailer, but the entire trailer is heavily based around him, possibly to make up for the lack of Hugh Jackman in the previous trailer. So let's jump straight into the trailer breakdown and work out exactly what in the world of the multiverse is happening again in Deadpool and Wolverine. So the trailer opens up with Wolverine in a bar as a bartender attempts to kick Wolverine out with some strong language, immediately showing audiences this is definitely not a superhero movie for your kids. Deadpool then pops up next to Wolverine saying "Hi Peanut" in the nickname Ant-Man calls his daughter, which could be a clue towards possibly a Paul Rudd Ant-Man cameo, or possibly Deadpool just watched the unfolding of the first Ant-Man movie at the TVA, as shown in the previous trailer of Wade watching other MCU movies live on screen, and there's actually more of Ant-Man coming up too. Wolverine then calls Deadpool a lady and politely says he's not interested, which is hilarious considering Deadpool definitely has a higher pitched voice compared to standard male superheroes, so a drunk Wolverine could very easily mistake him for a female. Deadpool then attempts to grab Wolverine and drag him out of the bar, as Wolverine attempts to pull out his claws only for them to barely come out of his hands. This is extremely similar to Wolverine having this exact same issue in Logan due to the adamantium in his body slowly killing him, or this could just be due to the fact that Wolverine seems pretty trashed in this scene. Deadpool then pulls out one of his pistols and points it directly at Wolverine's head at point blank range. Wolverine responds with a smile, either because he knows that shot won't do anything and he can attack Deadpool straight after the trigger is pulled, or because he hopes the gun will actually kill him, as Wolverine definitely seems pretty depressed in this scene. We then get a shot of Wolverine in his proper yellow and blue suit walking towards Deadpool, as Deadpool says he's about to lose everything he's ever cared about, as Wolverine replies with, "It's not his problem," showing audiences this is definitely a much more sadder and darker Wolverine than expected compared to his slightly more charming superhero self. Now this dialogue definitely sets in stone my original plot theory on my previous Deadpool 3 video, in which I say the TVA are only interested in keeping Deadpool from the Fox universe, but nobody else. So Deadpool is teaming up with Wolverine to try and save Vanessa and his friends from getting wiped from existence. Feel free to check out my previous video for a much more detailed version of that theory. Deadpool then mentions Wolverine losing his world, as they get a shot of Wolverine kneeling next to what looks like graves of all the other X-Men of his world. So this now asks the question, what variant of Wolverine is this, and of what world? As the Wolverine of Deadpool's world would seem to be Logan, who is dead. So is this one small line confirming that we aren't dealing with time travel anymore in this movie, but just character variants from the multiverse instead? Although Deadpool was time traveling at the end of Deadpool 2, that's probably how he got the TVA's attention. Multiverse storytelling has become insanely popular over the last few years, so it would definitely make more sense for Disney to lean as hard into that as possible, especially considering how much they've already done that within the MCU with Doctor Strange, Spider-Man and Loki. Mr. Paradox then explains that this Wolverine let down his entire world, which could make sense why Deadpool is asking Wolverine for help, so that by helping Deadpool save his world, Wolverine might also be able to redeem himself. We then get our first look at a serious fight between Deadpool and Wolverine, as Wolverine swings his claws at Deadpool as Deadpool dodges every swing. Also, these dodges and cinematography are the exact same style as Peter Parker's dodges against Flash's punches in the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. Is this an Easter egg towards Spider-Man? Or was Deadpool watching Spider-Man at the TVA beforehand, along with other Marvel movies, learning some new fighting techniques? Now you might be asking yourself, why doesn't Wolverine just move forward and close the gap to reach Deadpool? Well, in the next shot, we actually do see one of Deadpool's swords down low, which could be stabbed through Wolverine's leg, pinning him to the ground. Wolverine then stabs Deadpool straight in the balls, which looks insanely painful, as Deadpool retaliates by unloading his guns into Wolverine's ribs. This fight looks extremely brutal, although it definitely looks like Deadpool isn't trying to kill Wolverine, but instead just incapacitate him, as none of his attacks seem lethal. Although Wolverine absolutely looks like he is trying to kill Deadpool here. This leads me on to ask, is Wolverine even an actual threat to Deadpool in this movie? Like, I know they're going to team up and become friends eventually, but when they are fighting each other, is Deadpool actually bothered, or is Wolverine's aggressive attitude just an inconvenience to him? Honestly, it would be pretty funny to see, as badass as Wolverine is, all he is a slight inconvenience to Deadpool, especially considering how much of a huge annoyance Deadpool is to Wolverine. Deadpool then tries to break through to Wolverine with some fourth wall breaking dialogue, as Wolverine responds with his classic "go f yourself" response straight from X-Men First Class. We then get Wolverine in quite possibly his best live action look yet, as he comes around a corner rocking a sleeveless yellow and blue look. Not only is this outfit directly from the comics, but Hugh Jackman also gets to show off his insanely muscular physique in this getup. Deadpool is also next to Wolverine, now rocking two golden guns, the same make but different color from Deadpool's classic pistols. Could these new guns be from a variant Deadpool? There is a very high chance of this happening, especially considering we not only get another Deadpool variant in this trailer, more on him coming up, but we've definitely seen some photo leaks of other Deadpools online from Deadpool 3. My theory points towards a particular handsome Deadpool variant that has been leaked in having these golden guns. So possibly our OG Deadpool somehow steals these golden guns at some point in the movie, either because he lost his, or they are way stronger and these stronger guns are needed to defeat the movie's villain. More on her coming up. Deadpool then shows Wolverine a picture of his friends in a car as he asks for help again from Wolverine, only for Wolverine to respond to Deadpool saying he is no hero. The only thing is that these two are completely different scenes, as not only is the car scene set during the day, but Wolverine response is at night outside and he is sleeveless. I think they're going to save sleeveless Wolverine for Act 3, so any shots of bare Hugh Jackman's arms we get, I'm assuming, are going to take place near the end of the movie. Deadpool then tries to hype up Wolverine by telling him he is the X-Men, as not only is Wolverine plenty of fans' favorite X-Men, but he is clearly Deadpool's as well, as indicated from the previous Deadpool movies. We then get a fourth wall break from Deadpool and an awesome shot of Wolverine drawing his claws, as we get more footage of the Deadpool vs Wolverine fight, or possibly their first fight, as I believe we could get a few fights between these two with some other scenes coming up. Deadpool is then shown killing some TVA agents, and we get our first glimpse at Cassandra Nova, the sister of Charles Xavier, who I believe will be the villain for the second half of this movie after the TVA are in the first half. If you're wondering why Deadpool is fighting the TVA again, I go into my full theory on that on my first video on Deadpool 3. If you haven't seen that, feel free to check it out to get that question answered there. Deadpool and Wolverine are then seen fighting in a car they were previously talking in. I'm guessing Deadpool says something sensitive to trigger some rage in Wolverine and start another brawl between these two. Now, I think we're going to get multiple fights between Deadpool and Wolverine so they can at least win one fight each to keep both Deadpool and Wolverine fans happy. I have a feeling we might get possibly 3 fights between them, with Deadpool winning the first and the third fight, but Wolverine winning the second. I mean, technically this is Deadpool 3, so it is his movie, so it makes sense that Deadpool wins most of the fights. We get another look at the big smoky dragon that lives in the void, which I think is where Act 2 and Act 3 of the movie take place. That is then followed up by a dead giant Ant-Man, and his helmet opens up as it seems to be the base of operations for Cassandra Nova, as she could be using these remains as a Cerebro of some sorts. This same shot also shows Cassandra's army of evil mutants, as we get multiple villains from previous X-Men movies showing up, including Toad, Lady Deathstrike, Azrael, Pyro, and others. Wolverine is then seen drinking sleeveless in a cave, where I think Deadpool and Wolverine will make their battle plan for the final fight of this movie. We then get our first look at the first official Deadpool variant in Dogpool, a variant of Deadpool that is in fact, yes, you guessed it, a dog. In this same shot, Deadpool is shown to have 3 claw marks in his head, clearly from a brawl with Wolverine, and possibly the one where Wolverine has won by sticking his claws straight through Deadpool's head. We then get a shot of some kind of apocalyptic car chase, very similar to something pulled straight out of Mad Max, and back to a shot of Deadpool stabbing Wolverine in the knee with his boot knife inside the car I previously mentioned they were brawling in. We then get an explosion with some apocalyptic goons going flying, with possibly this being how Deadpool and Wolverine escape the catcher from them and Cassandra. And then we get a possible car chase again, and Wolverine getting wrecked by Cassandra Nova. Wolverine is sleeveless here, so this fight could very well be right near the end of the movie. We then get a shot of Deadpool and Wolverine working together, with Wolverine again being sleeveless. My theory on Wolverine's sleeveless look is a little deeper than Marvel just pulling it straight from the comics, as I believe the second act of the movie will consist of a more Deadpool versus Wolverine vibe, and the third act being a Deadpool and Wolverine team up vibe. I think when Wolverine rips off his sleeves, he's also going to be ripping off his baggage and letting go of the past and his attitude towards Deadpool. And so Sleeveless Wolverine will be the true hero the audience has been waiting for in the final act. I might be going way too deep into it here, but that's just my theory on Wolverine's character and his costume. Deadpool is then seen fighting his way through some apocalyptic goons and building his battle plan with Wolverine. And then a final shot of Wolverine saying, "Let's f***ing go," which looks like it's set in the original fight between Deadpool and Wolverine. And the big final money shot of the trailer is Deadpool and Wolverine jumping into a mystical portal ripped straight out of Doctor Strange as they jump out of Ant-Man's giant skull to escape the cloud dragon that eats the survivors of the Void. So the big question is, where are Deadpool and Wolverine going? Straight into Avengers Endgame to change the fate of a certain Iron Avenger who died, or possibly through all the Fox superhero movies to pull a team together to fight the villains of the Void and start a secret war as teased in the comic book from the previous trailer. And the final joke of the trailer also shows Wade Wilson and Blind Owl joking about taking drugs, but how they can't now because they're in the MCU. So after watching both trailers for Deadpool and Wolverine, what do we think the story is? Well, I definitely got some theories, so here we go. This is full speculation though, so I could be way off with a few ideas. There are still some very large story gaps missing in these trailers. So I'm trying to paste it all together with photo leaks and cast listings as well so that it all makes sense. Now I'm all for pleasant surprises, so if a whole heap of what I predicted doesn't happen in this movie, I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm totally cool with that. So this movie starts off with a retired Wade Wilson as he celebrates his birthday with Vanessa, Blind Owl, who wants to take drugs but can't because Disney won't let her, and Deadpool's X-Force friends, only for Wade to be interrupted and captured by the TVA for time traveling through Deadpool 2 and creating a whole heap of new timelines. I'm going out on a limb here and saying that Mr. Paradox explains to Deadpool that his time traveling shenanigans have not only created new timelines, but also new variants as well. So offers Deadpool a chance to fix his mistakes with some upgraded MCU gear, powers, and a brand new lighter red suit. So why would Deadpool agree to do this and just work for a brand new team that he knows barely anything about? Well, I'm going to assume that Mr. Paradox is going to tell Deadpool that the MCU intend on wiping out Deadpool's Fox universe from existence, but if Deadpool helps the TVA clean up his time-traveling mess, the TVA will save Vanessa and Deadpool's friends, which the TVA are clearly lying about, but Deadpool doesn't know that yet. Deadpool then works with the TVA and is tasked with tracking down variant superheroes like other Deadpools and Wolverines, as we have seen photo leaks and clips of different variances of these characters, to take them to the Void, an apocalyptic location where all unwanted variances live, and fix the multiple timelines Deadpool has created. I think Deadpool is possibly going to kill the Wolverine that he finds at the bar and send him to the Void, as that would explain that a variant Wolverine is immediately pissed off at Deadpool in the Void and instantly fights him, possibly because Deadpool sent that Wolverine there, or this Wolverine is attacking Deadpool out of revenge for other Wolverines that Deadpool has killed. Deadpool then figures out that the TVA have zero intentions of bringing Vanessa and his friends to the MCU with him, as they are only using him to fix up his original mess, so Deadpool betrays the TVA in killing the agents on his team. Deadpool may then realize he's bitten off more than he can chew in fighting the TVA by himself, so he figures he's going to need the help of another superhero, and since he's already been collecting and killing these Wolverines, he knows they're in the Void. Deadpool figures if he is sent to the Void, he can find one of these Wolverines to convince them to help him save his friends. Deadpool is then sent to the Void by the TVA, only for them to be interrupted by an apocalyptic gang of goons and the smoky dragon that lives in the Void that attacks and eats the TVA agents. Now I think Deadpool is going to be captured by these apocalyptic goons and taken to the base of operations to meet Cassandra Nova. Deadpool might even run into this Wolverine here, who is also captured, and Deadpool escapes capture with this Wolverine, assuming they are friends, only to be immediately attacked by Wolverine for the reasons I've mentioned earlier. Now I think Sabretooth will join this fight at some point between Deadpool and Wolverine, and Deadpool will kill Sabretooth and gain some respect from Wolverine because of the photo leaks we've already seen. Wolverine definitely has it out for Cassandra Nova, as seen in their brief fight in the trailer, possibly because she was actually responsible for the destruction of his world and he couldn't defeat her, which could explain his depression. So I'm going to assume that Deadpool and Wolverine make some sort of deal, with Wolverine helping Deadpool fight the TVA for Deadpool helping Wolverine in killing Cassandra. Deadpool and Wolverine also seem to run into variant versions of themselves at some point, which could lead towards them jumping through the portals into different multiverses to find strong enough heroes or weapons to help them take down Cassandra and her army of X-Men villains in one big final battle at the end of the movie. Deadpool and Wolverine very clearly don't seem to be getting along for most of this movie, so possibly meeting all the different variant versions of each other, they could open up and realize they have more in common than expected, which could explain why they seem to be friends by the final act of this movie. We do see that Secret Wars comic tease that could also hint towards something like this happening and the possible return of the Fox heroes and villains for one big final fight before the X universe of superheroes is wiped from existence forever. Plus, with the cast members already confirmed to be in this movie, we could be getting all these classic superpowered characters returning from all the superhero movies before the MCU. There is also rumors of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man returning again for this movie, and if it isn't just Deadpool watching Spider-Man in the TVA like I've already mentioned, Tobey could be in this final battle as well. How Deadpool will save his friends and how Wolverine will defeat Cassandra, I'm not 100% sure, but from what we've seen in these trailers already, this is the plot of the movie I've attempted to work out. I could be so far off with all of this Deadpool speculation, but either way, thank you for watching my theory video on Deadpool and Wolverine. And if you have any ideas I've completely missed, absolutely chuck them down in the comments below so we can talk even more Deadpool 3 together. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying my pop culture content and you haven't already, and I will see you all in my next video.